badmouthing him. But police themselves are concerned about the corruption that's going on as a result of this. And so you want to talk about the corruption involved in that issue. They say it'll never happen. We say it's inevitable. It's just how soon. They say it's an unpopular idea, and you just heard we're in the majority, right? So there you go. Again, I'm not going to run through all of these, but one of the things that we hit here, this drug-free, they talk about, well, you know, and if you say, they find out, well, you probably smoke pot, right? So, well, that gives you actually the edge, because what do people want? They want direct first-hand experience. They want to buy from the factory direct store. They don't want to go to the guy in the middle. So there you are. You're the person who has that direct experience, and you don't want to insult them by calling them ignorant. So you say, well, that's a kind of a naive point of view, or I can see how you might be misled, or something like that. Find a nice way of saying it to them. You don't have this experience. I do, because I've smoked marijuana, and I know that. And also this question about waiting for the government to act. Now, the reason I chose this particular response is states do not need a permission slip. The reason for that is because when Bush was ready to invade Iraq, what did he say? He said, we don't need a permission slip from the UN, which means the UN is this big teacher, and we're like, you know, we're like not being treated like kids. And so when Bush, we use his friggin' words right the hell back at him. That's why we don't need this administration to tell us anything, because we don't need any permission slips from a bunch of political hacks. War on drugs becomes a war on family. A slippery slope is just a change of course. The gateway drug, well, it's a safer alternative than the other drugs out there. Pot's stronger now. Well, so is Starbucks coffee. And they talk about your father's pot. It's not like your father's pot. I said, yeah, it's like my father's hash. You know, it's not that it hasn't been around. So they say you want to get high, and that's when you say, no, this is serious. We're talking about lives being destroyed. So when they tell you to get high line, that's the moment where you really have to buckle down and say, I am not kidding about this. This is something that's going to affect you, and you should get on board with us. Don't break the law, of course, but we don't have to change the laws anyway. The last one I want to stick on is why add another problem, and then we say it's a solution. It's not a problem. Just totally negate it. Give them the word that says the opposite of what they said. Along comes a spin cycle. The first thing you want to do is to make sure people are ready. They feel like you're going to cram something down their throat when you start talking to them. You want to take that away from them. Say, look, I'm not trying to cram this down your throat. But I think if we talk about this a little bit, you can start to see some of my points of view. Now they've already, now they kind of owe me a favor. I'm not going to cram it down their throat. Well, then what can they do for me? Well, they can listen to what I had to say. And then, of course, then we work our way down there. If you're trying to slowly trash somebody, again, it's different than if you're just trying to convince them. But I think it's very important when an individual says to you that they're really concerned about something, you don't just say, well, that's stupid. You have to say, that's a really serious concern. I understand why you think that way, and here's how I've dealt with that, what I consider that. I thought about that too. And then another one that I'm just going to pop through a few of these things, then right along with it. Turn around their argument. So they're saying, well, marijuana is bad, 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 bad. You say, well, even if everything you said about marijuana was true, which I don't think it is, but even if it was, it still doesn't justify somebody going to prison for it. Then we've got the question about that we all agree about children. What we disagree about is the approach, and my approach is better than yours. And then the other thing I think that you have to talk about is the unchristian attitude that is used by these so-called Christians. I think we have to point it out. This is unchristian. Read the Sermon on the Mount. You know, Jesus didn't say people should be in prison. He never said it. He said you should visit the prisoners and give them comfort. And then the other one is that fuzzy thinking that leads to drug hysteria, because they're going to say that you're fuzzy thinking because you smoke pot or something like that. So then we have to watch that we don't scare off our own people. Like, for example, I say it doesn't take courage to stand up for what's right. There's nothing to be afraid of. Why would I say it takes courage? Because that's going to scare you away. I say, I'm glad you're so brave. Why? Then you're thinking, why am I so brave? What am I worried? You know? So you just say the opposite. It shows strength to do what you're doing. We all want to be strong. We don't necessarily want to be crazy. And so then the comfortable presentation is dress appropriately. For example, I'm wearing a pink shirt because it's San Francisco. The white blue tie because it's America. Great, because I kind of want to fit in with the mainstream here. Short hair in the front, long hair on the back. I kind of got the basics covered here. Keep your hands away from your face. You know, a lot of times people not a very convincing. Doesn't convince anybody. People like to see the palms of your hands. They like to see when you're thinking about something. You look up to God. God, tell me the answer. Yeah, now I know the answer. They'll like that. Hipple, help me out, Hipple. Pitching a win-win. Remember, there's something in this for everybody. Again, I'm not going to go down through this whole list, but basically, you need to point out that benefits for everybody, not that we win and you lose, because people don't like that. Also looking for unexpected benefits, like for example for us with the hemp, we didn't really realize that the hemp seed was going to be such a valuable resource ultimately. When we first started off, we just talked about hemp seed is good too, and then we found out what was happening. Again, it's really good to ask the audience what it is they're looking for, and then to show them how your approach is going to give them what they're looking for. Everybody wants to win. Recruitment in action. You create the empathy. We're all in this together, of course. You create urgency. If you don't do something about it right now, then this situation is just going to continue to deteriorate, and you're going to find yourself in a worse position tomorrow than you do today. If we don't get enough signatures to put this on the ballot today, then we're going to have to live with this for another 2 years. You know, there has to be a reason people are like, uh-oh, I better do something about it. And then the call to action, which is, I'm so proud to stand here for our values today, and invite you all to come online at my website, I don't give you a name, of course. Please consider sending a donation and making a real solution, and you're going to be happy you did. You know why? Because people like to be happy. Thanks, because people like to be thanked. And so then from here we go forth and convince other people. So you start thinking, who is this audience? What kind of words, what kind of symbols is going to reach this particular group?
We so happy we alive, we together can survive. Stop the bullshit, stop the lies, and now's the time to legalize. Tell me brother, tell me true, what the hell we gonna do? Remember the days we saw purple haze. 1 and 1 is 3. Hey, hey, baby, what you do to me? We so happy, we alive, we together can survive. Mother Nature, heaven sent, don't belong to government. Hey there sister, what's the plan? Do you really understand? Remember the days we saw purple haze. 1 and 1 is 3. Hey, hey, baby, what you do to me? We so happy, we alive, we together can survive. Stop the bullshit, stop the lies, now's the time to legalize. Half the world up in smoke, where on earth can we take the tug? Remember the days we saw purple haze. 1 and 1 is 3. Hey, hey, baby, what you do to me? Human nature, full and free, modifies reality. Open up, inner flower, peace and love in